The rain came down so hard that Daniel could barely see the road. His windshield wipers moved as fast as they could, but the storm had turned the streets into silver rivers. Water rushed along the curbs, headlights appeared as blurry white circles, and thunder shook the windows of his aging pickup. In the back seat, his 8-year-old daughter, Lily, was asleep with her head against the window. Daniel glanced at her through the rearview mirror. She was curled beneath an old pink blanket, clutching the stuffed rabbit her mother had given her years ago. "Almost home," he whispered. He was exhausted. He had worked a 10-hour shift at the auto repair shop, picked Lily up from his sister's house, and now just wanted to get home, make dinner, check Lily's homework, and collapse into bed. Being a single father had taught Daniel how to function on almost no sleep. He could change a tire with one hand while holding a lunchbox with the other. He could cook breakfast, pack a school bag, repair a leaking sink, and still make it to work on time. But there were nights when the exhaustion caught up with him. Tonight was one of those nights. Then he saw the car. A sleek black luxury sedan sat on the shoulder with its hazard lights flashing. Daniel slowed. Nobody else had stopped. The rain was getting worse, and the road was nearly empty. He drove past. For 3 seconds, he kept going. Then he looked at Lily sleeping in the back. His father's voice suddenly came back to him. "If you can help someone safely, don't pretend you didn't see them." Daniel sighed. "Dad, you always had to make things difficult." He turned the steering wheel. The pickup pulled onto the shoulder. Daniel checked the rearview mirror. "Stay in the truck," he told Lily. She opened one eye. "Are you fixing something?" "Maybe. It's raining. I noticed." She sat up slightly. "Daddy." "Yes." "Be careful." Daniel smiled. "Always." He grabbed his toolbox and stepped into the rain. Within seconds, his work shirt was soaked. The woman standing beside the luxury car looked furious. Her expensive coat was drenched, her dark hair stuck to her face, and she was staring at her phone as if she could force it to solve the problem. When Daniel approached, she looked at him suspiciously. "Do you know anything about cars?" "A little." She glanced at his old toolbox. "A little." Daniel smiled. "I've been fixing them since I was 16. She looked at the car. "It's completely dead." "What happened?" "It started making a strange noise, then stopped." "Did you smell anything?" "No." "Lights?" "They flickered." "Battery?" "I don't know." Daniel opened the hood. The engine compartment was spotless. He whistled softly. "Nice car." "Thank you." "Not cheap." "No." Daniel examined the battery, then the wiring, then the starter. The rain ran down his forehead and into his eyes. He wiped it away. Turned the key. She climbed inside. The engine clicked. Nothing else. Daniel leaned closer. He noticed the battery terminal. "There's your problem." "What?" "Your battery terminal is loose." She stared at him. That. He tightened the connection. Then he checked it again. "Try now." She turned the key. The engine roared to life. The woman stared at him. That was it. That was it. She climbed out. "How much do I owe you?" "Nothing." She frowned. "Nothing. It's a loose terminal. I can pay you." "You can." He closed his toolbox. "But you're good." She stared at him. "Are you always this stubborn?" "Only when I'm tired." For the first time, she smiled. It changed her face completely. "How much do you make at that repair shop?" Daniel laughed. "Enough to keep my daughter fed." She looked toward the pickup. "Your daughter?" "She's 8. She must be freezing. She has a blanket." The woman looked toward the truck. "I hope she knows how lucky she is." Daniel smiled. "I think I'm the lucky one." The woman looked at him for a moment longer than necessary. Then she reached into her purse. "Please take this." She held out several bills. Daniel shook his head. "No." "Why?" "Because I helped you. And that's enough." She lowered her hand. "You don't know who I am." Daniel smiled. "Neither do you." She raised an eyebrow. "What does that mean?" "It means you don't have to pay me to be decent." She stared at him. Then she smiled. "What's your name?" "Daniel." "Daniel what?" "Daniel Carter." She repeated it quietly. "Daniel Carter." "That's right. My name is Victoria." "Nice to meet you, Victoria." "You don't even want my number?" Daniel laughed. "I have a daughter waiting for me." "That wasn't what I asked." "I know." Victoria smiled. "You're different." "I'm tired." "That too." Daniel turned toward his truck. "Drive carefully." "Daniel." He turned. "Thank you." He nodded. "You're welcome." Then he climbed into his truck. Lily immediately sat up. "Daddy." "Yeah." "Who was that?" "Someone whose car broke down." "Was she rich?" Daniel looked at the luxury sedan. "Probably." "How do you know?" Because of the car. Lily thought about it. Did she give you money? No. Why? Because sometimes helping someone isn't about getting something back. Lily smiled. You always say that. Because you keep forgetting. I don't. You forgot your homework yesterday. That was different. Daniel laughed. He started the truck. Neither of them noticed the small black device hidden beneath the sedan's battery compartment. Neither noticed the dark vehicle parked several hundred yards away. And neither saw the man inside watching Daniel drive away. The stranger lifted his phone. He stopped. A voice answered. Who? A mechanic. Did he touch the car? Yes. How long? About 5 minutes. There was silence. Then the voice said, Find him. The stranger looked at the disappearing pickup. We don't know his name. The answer came immediately. Then find out. Daniel drove home, believing the night was over. He was wrong. At 6:47 the next morning, Daniel heard a vehicle outside his house. Then another. Then another. He was standing in the kitchen making coffee when he heard the engines. At first, he thought it was construction equipment. Then he looked through the window. His coffee nearly slipped from his hand. 3 black SUVs were parked outside. A 4th pulled up behind them. Daniel's heart began pounding. He had lived in the same small house for 6 years. He knew everyone on the street. Nobody drove vehicles like that. He watched the doors open. 4 men in dark suits stepped out. They weren't police. They weren't delivery drivers. They moved with the confidence of people who knew exactly where they were going. Then another door opened. Daniel froze. Victoria stepped out. She was wearing a dark coat. Her hair was neatly tied back. She looked nothing like the soaked woman he had met beside the highway. Daniel's first thought was simple. What have I gotten myself into? Lily walked into the kitchen, rubbing her eyes. Daddy. Daniel immediately stepped between her and the window. Go get dressed. She looked confused. Why? Just do it. Is something wrong? I don't know. Daniel watched Victoria approach his front door. She stopped, then knocked. Daniel didn't move. She knocked again. He finally opened the door, but kept one hand on the frame. What are you doing here? Victoria took a breath. My name is Victoria Hale. Daniel stared at her. And I owe you an explanation. Daniel glanced toward the SUVs. Those cars don't look like an explanation. Victoria almost smiled. No. Her expression became serious. They don't. Who are these people? My security team. Daniel's eyes narrowed. Security team? Yes. Why do you need a security team? Victoria looked over her shoulder. Because I'm the heiress to Hale International. Daniel froze. He had heard that name. Everyone had. Hale International owned hotels, shipping companies, technology firms, and private investment groups. Victoria Hale wasn't simply wealthy. She was one of the most powerful young businesswomen in the country. Daniel looked at her again. You're serious? Yes. And you came all the way here because I fixed your car? No. Her voice became quieter. I came because fixing my car may have saved my life. Daniel's smile disappeared. What? Victoria looked directly at him. My car wasn't supposed to break down. Daniel felt a chill. Someone sabotaged it. Yes. And you think I had something to do with it? No. She shook her head. I think you saved me. Daniel stepped outside. From what? Victoria hesitated. An assassination attempt. Daniel's blood went cold. He immediately looked toward Lily's bedroom. What? The car was deliberately disabled. Why? So I would stop. Daniel stared at her. And if you hadn't stopped? Victoria swallowed. I probably wouldn't be standing here. The rain from the night before suddenly felt very distant. Daniel looked at the SUVs. Then back at Victoria. Why are you telling me this? Because when you opened my hood, you found something. Daniel frowned. What? Victoria reached into her coat. She pulled out a small black object. Daniel recognized it immediately. A tracker. Yes. I didn't take that. I know. Then why are you showing me? Because whoever planted it thinks you have it. Daniel's face went pale. You followed me? No. Then how did you find my house? Victoria looked at him. The tracker wasn't the only thing they planted. Daniel couldn't sleep. The secure estate was enormous, surrounded by high walls, cameras, and armed guards, but none of that made him feel safe. His daughter, Lily, was asleep in the guest bedroom upstairs. Victoria had promised him that no one would get near her. Still, Daniel kept checking the hallway. Every few minutes, he looked at his phone. Then he looked at the photograph. The photograph Victoria had shown him was still sitting on the table. His late wife, Sarah, stood beside a younger man Daniel immediately recognized. The man was Victoria's father, Richard Hale. Daniel had seen the photograph hundreds of times. But there was one problem. Sarah had always told Daniel she had never met Richard Hale. She had always said she worked in a small accounting office before they married. She had never mentioned the Hale family, never mentioned billion-dollar companies, never mentioned Victoria. And now Victoria was telling him that Sarah might still be alive. Daniel picked up the photograph again. Why would she lie to me? Victoria sat across from him. Maybe she wasn't lying. What do you mean? Maybe she was protecting you. Daniel shook his head. She died. Victoria stared at him. Did you see her body? Daniel froze. He remembered that night. The phone call. The hospital. The doctor telling him there had been a highway accident. The identification process. The funeral. Everything. I identified her, Daniel whispered. Was it absolutely certain? Daniel didn't answer. Victoria leaned forward. My father believed Sarah was dead too. Then why are you saying she's alive? Because 3 weeks ago, my father received a message. What message? Victoria pulled out her phone. She showed him an encrypted photograph. It was a picture of a woman standing outside a train station. Daniel's hands began shaking. The face was older. The hair was different. But he knew those eyes. Those eyes had looked at him every morning for 12 years. That's Sarah. Victoria nodded. My father received it anonymously. Daniel stood. Where was this taken? Zurich. Why didn't he tell me? Because he was afraid. Afraid of what? Victoria looked toward the window. Of my uncle. Daniel paced across the room. This doesn't make sense. It gets worse. Victoria opened another file. My uncle wasn't only trying to take control of the company. She hesitated. He was involved in Sarah's disappearance. Daniel stopped walking. What? My father found financial records connecting him to a private security firm. What kind of records? Payments made 8 years ago. Daniel felt sick. The year Sarah died.